Okay, welcome back. The break is a bit longer than we expected, just a bit longer, but we're back now. Please get ready for our second speaker, Mr. Ian Whitehouse, who has been in this industry for more than 20 years, I think closer to 30. Ian is a very enthusiastic entrepreneur. He runs more than one company of his own, and then very, very knowledgeable to the local network as well. Okay. Okay. Can I have everyone's attention, please? Thank you. Let me introduce Mr. Ian Whitehouse. Ian has been in Tasmania for 31 years, and then knows the network inside out, I believe. And Ian also runs more than one company, so he has a lot of experience in starting business as well. And then Ian will share a lot of experience. That's the most important part of running a business, starting a business in Tasmania. Cheers.
Thank you, Jade, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much. Really nice to see another group from our Tasmanian community. So this is session, I think I've done 4 of these sessions plus 2 facilitations. So it's always good to meet some new friends and some new people. And one of the key messages is that when you come together like this, you get to learn a little bit about each other, but you also get to learn a little bit from others, such as Leslie and some of Jade's inputs today as well. I get really excited when I get a chance to talk about this, make a job, start a business. So I have a number of businesses that I've set up. Some of them I still operate and some of them I've sold on. But the reason I get excited is because it gives me a chance to start something new, something that's come up today which is fun. It's in an area that I'm interested in, and it allows me to earn some money to pay my bills, feed myself, and grow myself in an area that I'm excited to be part of. When I came to Tasmania 31 years ago, I didn't have very much. I had a lot, but I didn't have very much financially. My wife was 7 months pregnant. I had a car, 2 dogs, a block of land, no job. Interest rates were 20%.
I had to go and lab with any cheap leg on here. I would a car, would a ma, the ma, would a poach in here, a der yanim here, would a tricky do that or not me, whatever, no?
One of the things I found and learnt very quickly was it was very hard to make new friends, meet new people. And so finding ways in which I could earn an income were very challenging in the very beginning. So what I did was I used some of the skills I already have to earn some money whilst I started to learn about others in the community and extend my networks so that I could grow further in the future.
Ta hết từ đó ta với luôn mù rồi và đi tới có để cái cứ trả ta phải ta mà để có đủ mà nó là khi ta bắt tụi ta tao đã ta thì ta bắt được khám nhà ta thì ta bắt là ô đó ta đi nè ta hari mù đi tới có bờ ta tu ô về bờ được và tên nhà ở đó bờ cái đó bên này lấy đó cái đào bên này nó.
So one of the challenges was how do you create a business when you don't have any money? So one of the things that I've had to do and one of the things I learnt to do was I actually took some of the advice that Leslie gave you this morning, which was I actually went and worked for somebody. While I was working for somebody, I started some of my business ideas and created a business. So I had to do the 2 things together. And then when I got to a point where I could let go, I could just focus on the business that I was interested in doing.
Ta when it called man, Jimmy, one of the Sarosiba, the Sibamono, Tabama, the block, Tabalamani, what I know, Tasiba, the Coti, Tasarochi, the Jeremy, but Maniwata, the Panicuni, the Babakunu, Tasiba Yibuni, the Labalobasa, Ablo, Maniwatama, the Loma, level Tasiba, you, Taplas, even it lucky,
One of the things I get excited about is I do a lot of work with younger people that are still at school or people that have just recently left school. And I really like working with that group because they have lots of ideas, they have lots of passion. In many ways, they're very brave. They're prepared to take more risks.
Tawada ni tama to korani puta sa ocho secretary ka me ocho wi secretary pa ni tam o mu lo ta du ni no pa me odi we ke ta sab lo tu chu ta ke ma ra ma lo ne lo ni to ke mi ba ni di ma ra mu ma aku ni tama to kora de di mu.
And I know we've got some young people here today and I'm going to ask you something in a little while. So be prepared maybe to have a bit of a think about some of the things that I might ask you because I am actually very interested in what you think. You are the future. You are future business owners. You are future employees, but more importantly, you will be future employers. So you will be looking to employ other people if you start a business.
Aku ni buat tasari pada aku ni dah sewin zat di wet, tapi di wet ni mutu ni no, aku sarau kira nya bawa aku ni buat mata pu, mutu ni si wena tu si dah dah, kira tama kau free mo dah berada no, aku ni tu buat pelor.
So for some of our other attendees today, one of the things that Leslie said in her presentation, and it's one of the things that appears in one of the slides that I'll put up shortly, is the importance of your networks, the importance of your relationships. So those networks can be within the Tasmanian community, the broader Australian community, or indeed from your homeland. Those networks are very important to you potentially if you wish to start a business because they may be the first part of the business strategy that you put in place.
Jadi orang Leslie mengerti ni no, nak saran siwai dor kanya ni no, nak tabla cerita bawa tu belum kanya, dia tu namun dia nak tekol lah, akhirnya ni tekol lah, nak buat awak bumi, wah mahu jalan wah, jalan tadi depan ni, tak sekolah ni tu wah nak mana tiba, aku ni tahu ni tak sekolah di depan ni, rindu lah, bagaimana mahu tak rindu mulu no.
So to share a little bit, I mean, I said I have a number of businesses, but I don't run those businesses by myself. So some of the businesses I own completely myself. So one of those businesses I own completely myself. But that's because it's in an area that I have very personal interest and I like the opportunity to be able to take some risks and take some chances and not impact maybe some other business owners that might be in some of my other businesses. So I'll share with you a little bit about a couple of businesses I do. And I'm going to share with you what we've done this year in the middle of a pandemic to show that you can actually start a business in times where it's hard and be successful.
Awalnya atama oni dodunya no, atama terno kau ni ada tertiki ya fela papu no. Na atama lagi sewin zado kita ni jadi camar kalau mia, jadi lu teh kau mat kau ada mau payah muta mau ni mati no. Lo coba payah awalnya tak cah lo kai ni. Tama de ta leteri dar oba ni dito jadi ni je ta leteri dar ke se kau ni jema deal ni tu ada jadi kita tu.
So one of the critical things in starting a business is having an idea, believing in the idea, and having a plan as to how you can implement that idea. Many of you will hear of this as being described as having a business plan, a plan for your business. I have a plan, but I don't have anything written down. I'm a more visual person. So my plan is in my head or on a whiteboard, depending on which business I'm working in. If you go to a bank to borrow money, and I'm going to suggest you don't do that to start a business, you would need something written down, okay? And I will talk about some services that you can access at no cost that will give you some support to write down a business plan.
awada ni nak sara siwa yi de khane de wada no nak ba u de ta chumun ta he kulan khunu bu nak ma di le ni na ta re tak le ba u ha kha kha khal lo no cha to ta we ni ta ma ja le ni ta re tak le de pha ta he ku de pha u la ta khunu bu no na ti ba ma ja to ya ba ni me ke le la ban ni me ke le khilo chi ni na ta re tak le ni ka ba pa khu le bu khal lo de na.
So I like to think about starting a business with a small target. If I have a small target, so I have an idea, I want a small target, it gives me something to aim for. Once I hit my small target, once I meet that small target, then I can make the target bigger. So often we talk about the small target as being, how much money would you like to earn in the first year?
Awara ni nak ba penyu jura che ko phulo mo na ra ma kho thi kho bu ni me ya ke me wi ma na penyu pha do ti ro mo na ta mi le pwe ro ni adu ke tani nya to bu ni ye do la ta he ni ku the le no ye do amya the le ta ti pha ni.
Because it's very important to work out whether your idea is actually worth doing. Is it actually worth starting a business with this idea? Because sometimes we have a great idea, we're very passionate about it, but sometimes the idea is not maybe a viable idea. Maybe it won't lead to success. Maybe the timing is not correct to start this business idea. So these are all the things that we have to consider. And that's why I look at the small target and I say, I want to earn 50,000, I want to earn 100,000, and then I can come back and work out what I need to do to make that money in the first year. If I can get success in the first year, then I try and change my target for the second year and the third year.
Awani na kama ta ma ni ta se ka to ka ba ba no awani na ta ku ta san ta he ku ta chumun ni ba li ba sa ta na ki ni se ka to mi de ba ba ni de blo ro kho ni ta nan ta he ku he pan na ka ma na ka pa lon ta ma lo ni ta ke fu wa ni o ji ni a ku ni ke ta ni nya ye ka ma tu la ye ta he ni o ye ka la no ta ni de ta ka lo no awe ye ka sa ro chi ko bu lo mi lo pwe ro do o min ja ta yi du kai li no ta ni do na ta pa nyu a ro ye ka ma pwe ka lo ni na ta pa nyu ni o lo no.
So Leslie and I have worked together for a long time. We've had businesses together. We've done lots of different things. But we also have a number of other friends that we've worked with as well. So in one of my businesses, I have no employees. I only have consultants that work with me. So even though I pay them, they don't work for me. They work with me. Because without their inputs, without their contribution, my business wouldn't achieve its goals.
Awa ta ma ta no ni awa pa pra ba ni wa ta ma pu do ba o ga wa ma ta ko da la pha la ga ni lo ga la ta ma ta ko lo ni a lo yan ni.
In another business, I have employees. So I recruit people. We have interns. We take 2 or 3 interns every year because what we want to do is develop the next generation. We want to help next amount of people as much as we can. Around about 85% of all our interns either get a job with us or we help them to find a job with another employer in Tasmania.
Awada atama lo to no ko du no o de pa ma ta pu do du no akho ki ya ga ta ga we ne lo we ta kha no me bi ta ka de ba ni tmi ta atama lo ba ati ba ha khu ma ro we ta kha ke ta ma lo o de blu kha pu ni pu ta sa de pha wa ga nyo ga ni ta ma ko ni ati we chot ta ma thwe le she we le tho bu ni we mo no.
So if you are looking to start a business, thinking how you might start it, is it just me? Is it me and my friends? Or am I going to engage with my wider community? Very, very important, and I'll share an example with you in a minute.
Awada ni nak sa ro adu si ba yi ta kha ni nak sa ro che den do ta ko den na khi ha sa ga me ta ma ta khai ni ba ka ma wa da ba to la ba to wo bu do wo na ba pa khu ga da ti ta ni no.
The key to success, in my opinion, is building relationships and maintaining and leveraging your networks. Leslie touched on this morning about the number of jobs that are not advertised in Tasmania. Often someone talks to us and says, I have a job, do you know anybody? My reference or my voice carries probably more weight than if you just turn up for an interview because of those 2 things. Now, in different cultures, we have a different way of expressing it, but we are fundamentally talking about the importance of the relationship. in business, relationship and trust matters a great deal.
No, awada talan ka mara da kha jada taram awe mungar gani atelo no na tari lu mulu ga bawu da wa na ha huta ma da ko bu ne ma ha cha ra do no me bla ta ma lo o khe phele ta ka ro bo myu le ne ga ba tin nya ma mnu ho le ne tano no jada wa telo ta ma ne te bla ko ne ni le ta ko ye na ha hu ne ya ba no ki ga awe ga he ko ne o ye ta ko una tra na ma i he ki go da tro ki ya ta ba je ni wa ne li thia o je ne.
So one of the things that we do, so I just don't do business in Tasmania. We do business with the mainland, we do business overseas. I normally travel 3 or 4 months every year to the mainland, to China, to Europe, to Thailand, and to North America. I do that because it's very important to have those conversations, to meet with the people that potentially will be your business partners or your customers. But the other side, of course, is if you travel, you show that you are valuing their input, you're valuing who they are, and often we will invite them to visit us so that we can show them a little bit about us in person as well. These are techniques that we use to grow our business.
Aware ka ne aware ne le ko blu bi no level you ko a level American level ba mla ta ma lo ne lo yu ga o si ya ne ya ado de blo ko wa ma ko ra de o ne u lo thi ga ko ga de blo ko ne wa de du ne lo wa ta fo ta li ho ne ma ko ra de o de blo ko aware se ko de mi la wa ha ba wa kwe mu wa da la thi lo ko bu no he kwa ta ma lo ta kle o ya ne mi ya lo ga da pa lu pa pui lo da mo de ga o ya ne mi.
So an example is for the last 2 years so for 18 years or thereabouts, I go to China 2 or 3 times every year. But in the last 2 years, I've been working backwards and forwards with some partners in Thailand. And last September, we signed some agreements. And then the pandemic happened. So what we signed, we can't now do. But in March of this year, what we did was we found a new product, a new service that we could partner together with. So we set up a shop front and employed a local Thai person, worked with our 2 partners in Thailand, and have implemented a new commodity that we have taken into the Thai market using sensor technology, sensor taps, UV sterilizers, all sorts of things, because Thailand is very dependent on tourism, as we know. And at the moment, during the pandemic, everything goes like this, like it has in Tasmania. But what we did was we saw an opportunity to make an investment now and work with our partners. So even though we can't travel, our partners are doing the job that we agreed to do back in September. But it took about 2 years of discussion, negotiation for us all to feel comfortable. Critical to have those 2 things.
Aware la ba kha la aware ni la nya tro ko ti we ba ma si ba yi ba le we o no la khi ne we le da la yu ko no le da yu ko blo ni de thu la ta cha lo di ba ga ne ati we thu ha la ma ti na ti wi le li blo ta ma ke ro la ba ta cha lo no ta cha lo ta ma ke ne ati we ba ha khu la to mi ro ta cha lo se to ni bu ge ma ja le no pele de ti le ni ko ki la yu ko ni a khu ne ati we khu ko ni ati we pa khi ga yu ko ba ma ta phu khi ga ni ati we o le ho ma ko da ja ni dia u ma ni ya ja ni le khi ta ma ni ke ro to mi ja ni no.
Because one of the most important things is not to make a business decision or a decision to start a business until you have had all of the advice, all of the inputs that you need. So getting good advice is really important. Not signing anything until you've taken good advice is critical. So in Thailand, for example, we went and spoke to lawyers, we went and spoke to accountants, we understood what the agreements meant, we tried to understand the law of Thailand as it applied to what we wanted to do. But our partners come from Europe. One is a German gentleman, another one's an English gentleman, and then we have some local Thai people who can do the Thai-to-Thai communication. One of those Thai people can speak very good English because they're well educated, they have a good degree. because some of the supply that we're looking for will come from the local communities, the local farming communities, the local arts sector, and the local tourism sector. And so it's really important that we have all of these relationships really solid, really agreed, before we can sign something. But we need to make sure that we understand the legal requirements, because one of our goals was to set up a company in Thailand. We needed to understand the law of Thailand in terms of how that could happen.
ဝါရဝမတကောရလဲယူကောခါနေနေအတကောချပါနော်အတကောလဲတလောကူကလဲတိကောကနဲ့ပါခုကြီးနော်နာအတေဘာဟာခုနေပဲတကောလဲအကြီးတက်လဲပကတဲ့ကြလဲတဲကောလဝဘာတိနာတိတိတဖာနေနေတခလန်းစာရတာဖေတမန်မချေလောချိုမီဘာနမစန်ထိုဝဒရာဘာမကူလဲနေနမေတနာပဘာနတာရတက်လေမင်းတို့အိုဝန်တခုခိဖာမင်းတို့အိုမနော်နေပါနေနတဘာမာရနော်မီပါဒရာနော်တခါနေအရီဒိုမာနော်မေဘလနကဘာတိညာဝတိကောဘင်းနေတာတူတာတော့အတဘလနရနကလေဟာဝီလလီလော်တီလော်ဆယ်လီနမီတိညာနပေါ်အမှုနော်လီမနေတာမနေနကဘာချေလောနမီကနေနကဘာစာတော့မတော်အရီဒို
So if we reverse the situation and we want to start a business in Tasmania, we need to understand the law of Australia and the requirements for setting up a business. We need to understand what sort of business. Will you be a sole trader, partnership, company, or something different? And there are free services in Tasmania that you can access to get some advice. And Jade has or will hand out the Enterprise Services Tasmania brochure, and you're able to get up to 5 hours of free advice that's funded by the government of Tasmania to help you start your own business. Before you turn up, it's very important to think about your business, have some really good ideas, and have clear questions that you can ask those advisors so that you get the best value out of the free time that you do get.
那个啥了，是吧？因为不会是讲那一天，不了 Tasmania 不呢，他都打发我家来喏，提高的比我都老大呢，他都打发那把瓜提高也罢了，提高的比了那么多高没个配没个喏，其实的提高呢，对不啦喏？我为了配 Tasmania 不家到那谁嘛呢呀？为了我迄股啦，我那嘞，我迄股那呢也不老嘛喏，那把嘞迄搭迄股不个啥了，靠提高不家来，地嘞那把那不啦可了，我迄股那么家嘞喏。
The other thing that's really critical is looking at where the opportunities are. So as I said, we've opened up 3 new pathways this year in the middle of a pandemic. Because sometimes when things are down, that's the best time to try something new. And you need to look for the opportunities. When I look for an opportunity, I look for ways in which it's either no cost or very low cost to start up. Because like all of us, you know, I have to manage budget. I have to manage my own income. But what I like to do is look for opportunities that allow me to try something without too much risk. Once I can prove it, then I can grow it more quickly. And that's why I talk about the small target.
အခုနေလောချရာတာဝရနေတာချူတာချလောနေစီပွားရေးတာလေတရိတာမေမြင်းနာတော့မနော်ပါမေဟာဒီကမှကြလေဒီကိုဂျန်နေဒီတော့ပါဒီကမှတာတခါဒီကမှတာတခါနေဒီကပါတဲ့ညာတာအစောတခါလောတာချလောခါနေဘကမှကြလေမျိုးလေနော်အဝဲတပါလောကြီးအာကောပါအဝဲကမှဝရခေါတ်တိခေါ်ဘူးကျဲဘူးလေတာလေတရိတာဘာကောချီတာဟဲနေကိုကောနေညမှာပဲချစ်ကောဘူးလို့ရဲ
So for example, in January, we started up a new seafood business. Seafood in Tasmania previously was sort of hard to get involved with because we had so many tourists come down and eat our lovely food, or we would send our lovely seafood overseas and some of it to the mainland. So we started a new seafood business. We took a bit of a try, we had a chance, we have a client that's interested in Tasmanian products. We don't have very many tourists coming into the state, so the supply went up. So Tasmanian squid, oysters, sea urchin and finfish, and recently, you know, scallops and things like that, you know, abalone, those sorts of things. So what we did was we took a bit of a chance and we said, oh, okay, let's try this. In 3 months, we did more than $100,000 worth of sales from nothing to 3 months. Sorry? We don't do anything. We take the order and ship it. That's it. Yep, we would be described as our business is more like a wholesaler. Okay, yeah. And what we did was we leveraged some of our existing skills. So we did a lot in the what we call the investment and trade area. Okay, from overseas, mainland, and obviously in Tasmania, in a number of areas. So what we did was we leveraged some of our existing skills to start this new business. That business at the moment, anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a week to $15,000 a week of orders since the beginning of the year. Brand new business. And yesterday we secured 50 tonne of cherries. And we have a client that's going to take 50 tonne of cherries from us. We didn't grow a cherry, we just put the parties together. So we come back to this bit, okay? Now we got that commitment because of someone we knew and have known for many years. A lot of their product is not going to go to the normal destinations this year. Now, even if we make 50 cents per kilo, if you do the numbers, it's still a pretty good return, isn't it? So what we do is we look for gaps or opportunities in the market. But the thing that we're doing now is we started in seafood, and now we're doing many other different commodities. Last year, I looked for honey. We could not get a honey supplier. This year, we have 2. So looking and staying in touch and keeping those relationships healthy allow you to help other businesses in Tasmania, but at the same time, it's a way of creating a new business for yourself. So this is just one example. And I'm sorry I spoke too long.
Awara tera bakala adi be mabera poleta ono khani ni no ke ta chalo mi ta chata lo ba adi be shelo ko ga ji she bata la ani ji no me bla du wala hen go phe de pha ne o poleta o la san u dim na de ni na pla lo ziwa ye pe khalo lo ni ya u tu la ta chalo la du wala de ki de ba ko ne pu ga do du nya ni ya o sa ka to ne adi ba ki chu mo ra mi ta to che ta le tre o ziwa ye ni na to si de ki ne tu de lo ma ye de ba ka ma di le ne adu cha to adi be che la o pa de ne adi be ma be cha to our cherry di na de ba pui lo siwa yin ya ani mga poleta o ki tu da la ta sa de o ja ni ya adi ba ha ma o ni to ma da o ja ni na ma chu mo ma na ba tu ko no siwa ye kwe o ja ni.
The other one we're going to do, we actually start next week. We're going to do some work in the agriculture space. And so this impacts in this top one up here in micro manufacturing, where I truly believe there is a number of business opportunities for people in Tasmania in particular. So we're going to start a trial. So a trial, very small. So again, small target. The maximum investment for us for this trial is about $1,500, so not much. And we're going to trial the growing of industrial hemp so that we can use the fibre to make things. So there is no manufacturing industry right here in Tasmania now for industrial hemp, for fibre products. There's a small business that's trying some building products and the use of industrial hemp, but not for fibre. We think there's a big opportunity there. So this season we're going to do small target and we're going to trial. But this is in an agricultural area. And as I say, the startup cost for us will be no more than $1,500 for the whole trial. So there's another opportunity that we believe. So that's so we did Thailand, we did seafood, which has morphed into other agricultural products, and we are also doing the hemp process. All that in a year when the world has been in chaos. If we are successful, where do you think that places us? It places us in front of other businesses, other entrepreneurs, other innovators. And Tasmania's climate and its soil and its people and the fact that we have lots of water around us give us a unique advantage. And for industrial hemp, for example, I went to Canada last year, did some research. We buy our seed for here to put in Tasmania because our climates are very similar. Okay, so sometimes looking at regions and looking for the climate similarities If I was to give you an example between Tasmania and China, when we are in summer, China is in winter. We have off-season, so to speak. And that's the case for many countries in Asia. So there is an opportunity that if we're producing something here, we can sell it that way. And if they're producing something in their country, they can sell it back to us. We end up with two-way exchange of goods and services. Again, you still need those relationships. You still need those networks to make it successful. But it's a win for you. It's a win for your customer, and it's a win to whoever you're buying the goods from. Can you see how you get this? I like to go win, win, win. 3 wins. Triangle. Strongest shape you can get. So that relationship and networking is absolutely key.
Awak si boy ni bakal tak kena lagi mana bagaimana tu kora aduh hebe aduh ni ni aduh terbelah kon lah kini kau di ni ta kita kan ni ano awak dah awak keli mungkin loga puai dah hei belah tu begini ta kita ta betul apa ni ajan ada begini betul kita ta tu apa tu aduh ni memang kora terukon aja ni ya terukon ni pemilu pe Tasmania ni ta kini ya dah tu orang ni batai ta jo no ta jo kan sekarang ni awak keluar awak dah tamu ta buta kita ta ni le no tapiท่านนี่ปตาบ้านเลโลละมั้งเนาะภาษาหน้ากินนี่ประมาณตะกอดนี่กบ้าวัวเสนะเนาะตาผู้ตาผู้ตาริลมูลูตานี่มีกิตาเซตโลละมีนี่กบ้าวัวข้อตะขาบ้าวัวขลังละมั้งทบุญ
Yeah, my other business interest, which is where I was going before, which is just me, is in basically in IT technology, but in areas that I think are emerging, are more conventional, more interesting. And so I do quite a lot of invested research, and from time to time we do some product development, but we also spend a lot of time working with other businesses, working with them to build quality management systems, compliance. So we do a lot of compliance work, not financial compliance. We're not accountants. That business gives us a lot of leads, business leads for some of our other businesses. So sometimes when you have more than one activity going, it opens up new doors. So again, we come back to those two things. It is really about helping people know who you are, what you do. That gives you some advantage moving forward, but it takes time. And 2 sessions ago, we had a gentleman who stood up at the back and said, "Oh, can I say something?" And he came forward and he told the audience a very valuable lesson, which is, he said, "Oh, I failed 5 times. Started this business, fail, started this business, fail. But after each failure, he learned something. So did he really fail? Okay, so sometimes you might start a business and it doesn't go the way you think it might go. But what I would suggest is if you are encouraged, try again. Take the learnings from that particular session and take those learnings and apply them to your next business idea.
เอาว่าแต่นี่เราแต่วันนี้ที่ว่ามาไม่รู้แล้วว่าที่ว่ามาตะกอนนี่เฮ้กูเฮ้พาบ่ามเนาะจะต้องว่าก็สารสิบายดีมันนี่อดูบาร์กันนี่ก็ชัดๆแต่ว่านี่ตาวันนี้รามาสิบายขันนี่เย่บล้อเย่มิวนี่เอาว่าอาชูเวกอบล้อแต่ว่าเนาะนั่นเองนี่เอาว่าชูเวภาษาหน้ากินนี่เอาว่าจ่อคอไว้จาเลยนี่เอาว่าชูตาขันนี่เอาว่าบ้าชูจาเลยเอาว่าบ้าที่ชูนี่ว่าจ่อคอไว้แต่บล้อนี่เอาว่าติ่งเนี่ยแล้วข้าสุญญานี่ก็บ้ามาเกี่ยจาเลยคิดบล้อนี่เอาว่ามาลูนี่ละมั้งเอาคำนี้เฮ้ชูไว้จานี่ไม่หรอกเนาะเอาว่าฮีนี่ตาตัวรู้เอาว่าจ่อคอไว้จานี่มันละ
So I want to challenge you a little bit now. I want you to take just 2 minutes, not 5 minutes, just 2 minutes. And I want you to think about a business idea that you might have. And then at the end of the 2 minutes, if you feel comfortable, what I would like you to do is share your business idea with us as a group. One of the reasons that I like to do this is because it gives us a bit of insight as to what people are thinking. So the business can be quite small, it can be something that you might want to start at home, or it can be a bigger dream. It's entirely up to you. So can you just take 2 minutes, have a think about a business idea you might have, and then I will invite you to contribute that idea if you feel comfortable.
คิดมันเนี่ยชั่วโมงอ่ะเดี๋ยวเรามาสิวายิมันน่ะดีเลยชั่วโมงละเชื่อกับบุรุษข้อที่ข้อขาข้อบนนี่มันน่ะด้วยนะ ဒီချုံမင်းပါနေသူတက်ပြအောင်သေးတယ်လာတယ်နေဘကဒီကူခေဖာပါမယ်
And it may be that you want to do business idea with someone sitting near you too. Because most of us need some support, some courage. So 2 minutes and then I'll ask you whether you have a business idea. Okay? As an individual, as a group, doesn't matter.
ဒီပါဒီမှာအော်တော့
You're going to write this. Thank you. Start here. Oh, is that not? Oh, make it. That would normally pull down, Leslie, like that. There you go. So the engineer worked. Yep, that's it. This is your turn.
I think at the moment we have no. Yeah, already.
All right. One of the reasons I give you just 2 minutes to think about this idea is because I'm really interested in what is your first idea. Not your second or third idea, your first idea. Does anyone have a business idea they might like to share with us? Because if you share that business idea, that helps Leslie and I to maybe give you some suggestions. So does anyone have a business idea they want to share? Remembering, guys, I love to hear from the younger and also people of my generation and anyone else in between, because a lot of the new ideas come from all positions. Does anyone have a business idea they might want to share? Oh. I love it when the hand goes up first.
So I was hoping to, basically, this exists, but we can, ship away, we can sell the oxygen from here to China.
Yep.
Because the people they need it because there's so much pollution in China. And then she said, oh, but like
News says 4 years ago.
Yeah.
People bottled up air.
Yeah, bottled Tasmanian air. Yeah.
People deal with here and then Western Australia.
Yep.
It's very nice here and fresh, and then people try for it. Like it's like,
Do you want to know a story? No. I know the person that bottled it and sent it. Okay, so the cleanest air in the world is up on the northwest coast of Tasmania. No. Scientifically proven, it's up just out of Smithton. Just out of Smithton. Tasmania, up on the very end. Yep, cleanest air, cleanest water in the world. Just like this.
Tasmania,
it's pressurized can. Yeah, it's so you could do this. But can I just correct you on something? Sorry.
I'll explain that. Sorry, I'll explain that. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah.
So I'd just like to correct you though. You heard me say that I go to China 2 or 3 times a year, normally. 10 years ago, I would agree with you about air pollution. I was very nervous about going back to Beijing. I hadn't been back to Beijing for many years. And every time in the late 2000s, I went to Beijing. Allergies, sinuses, my eyes would get all red, take me 4 weeks when I got home to come back to normal. When I went back to Beijing, 18 months ago, roughly 2 years ago, okay, I could see the sky. I didn't taste the heavy metal. I can tell you that in China, in many areas, they have made significant improvement in their air quality. The reason I say that to you is because sometimes when we read stuff, it's not always the case. So sometimes you actually have to go and travel and look with your own eyes and with your own senses. But yes, a few years ago, bottles cans of air that were being sent.
But it's still
Yeah, it's still available. Yeah.
But what I was sorry, just going to ask, because the reason I'm asking is I think this is a good business.
Yeah.
China, they're going to go into that fight Ukraine, the environment stuff. In 2060, I mean, it's 40 years. I mean, you have China still because so much pollution there, so much manufacturing, and then you got this idea that this sort of business, and probably it's going to cost you money, but in the long term, it would be beneficial. The people were there, and then the contribution to you was dollars to get to the market.
Again, what I'll do is I'll provide you some extra context, but we'll allow our translator to do some work.
Well, hope not power when you met the other. I will tell you that the Roconi, a cane, more than a kidblonia. And yet, I mean, let me I mean, I did you am Nuna Mala, Kali to give a mono. That's how cricket, I mean, a cane blonde, Kali, or couple of touch a lot on here. That would target it all about Honey here. When I do a set call, I didn't know.
One of the critical things in business, if you're going to start a business, is fine, we can start with that business, is to do your research, to really understand the market.
Can you tell us what other businesses like that?
You want me to tell you what business you should start? If we could ask the translator, I will answer you. So before I answer you, I've already given you one example in micro manufacturing. I think Tasmania has lots of advantages in micro manufacturing. And what I would say there is the businesses that you should consider looking at first is in your area of expertise or knowledge. Tasmania, when I first got here 31 years ago, you walk down the street, mostly you see European faces, okay? Now I walk down the street, I see people from all places and places, you know, from Asia, from Africa, and many, many more from, you know, maybe some of the Middle Eastern countries and things like that. Like we see more. When I first came here, it was a bit of a shock to me because I came from Sydney, okay? And in the area I lived, there was more than 109 different nationalities, okay?
I was there up with 30 to Nigane, the Verano, Tautan, the me Kilo Kerboni, Hella Europe, Lelano, may blood in the mere cake or maybe. Only 30 to Nigga, you can see on your meta or menu, Yanimia. Let's say about your work, look where to get up there, you know.
So when I came here, you can imagine, you know, like, oh wow, shock. My wife was born overseas, and she came to Australia when she was a small child. So my wife was born in China, in northern China, but she's Russian-Ukraine in nationality. When she came to Australia, her family came to Australia. Okay, she went to school and she couldn't speak any English at school when she started school. So she understands some of the difficulties that you might have when you come from overseas with your children, right? When you come from overseas, you bring skills. Often you bring skills that you already have. And some of those skills can be used in business. And so in my wife's family's perspective, her father was a fitter and turner. Okay, so he made things. So initially he started out working for somebody because that's what he did. And then after a while he started his own business. He had the skills, but he didn't necessarily have all of the business knowledge. He had to develop that over time. And so what he did was he started the business with a business partner who had some of those skills. And so when you're thinking of starting a business, sometimes you have to look at who might you work with.
I went in a money order to Rocoma, head to Sohani Colawani to Club, who in Bassaro, Cotti Combomia. I only had to Tona, about to go at a clock, Kaihuni, Adone, I was at our Jalani, the Blorcon and Namarati, Natakuta sat over. အခုနဲ့ကဘာခုနေဝငညာလာကူရဖာတာတိတကန်ဘာမတကောရာတဘလခေါနကကြတာဟေခုနေလပွဲလီneta tita bar o ban ba ha kuni no ko la o data tita bar ni mat ko ra ma.
So I'll give you an example to come back to your question. Where do you want to ask another one? Yep.
And a lot of people at some time, because as you said, you can take days ago from Sydney, it's just absolutely a shock on people who just say, what I'm saying is that you have to be have a, on the right time, right place, and the right person. It all has to be together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the whole different culture, different language, and then if you're not idea, or even have a business idea in your country, doesn't work. So many people fail because they think, okay, I will be, for example, China, importing stuff 20 years before the one. That's why you have to have that knowledge. And then your background, because you're born in this country, is going to be beneficial for you to give you a chance.
You made an assumption that I was born here. From New South Wales. Where do you think I used to live before New South Wales? I'm just joking with you, but no. But I've lived overseas. I lived in Singapore for 4 years. I was born in Australia, and where do you think my parents came from? Yeah. So all right. So what I'm saying is, one of these things. So I think you're right in the sense, and one of the things I said very early on, it's important to plan and test your idea. That's the really important bit. But no. So I've got a bit of Kiwi heritage, okay, from New Zealand, and before New Zealand, South Africa, and before South Africa, the UK. So if you follow my path back, yeah, but pretty much everybody except the Indigenous people of Australia came from somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't support. If you have no support, even they have the best idea. I'm just give you an example. For example, the Facebook started fighting, or Amazon is started business, they're selling the books, okay? But the marketing is going to put support is the father law, give you $1 million, and he started business. If you have no that kind of demand, he never did Amazon that.
But that's where we come back to your local network. Because if you take Richard Branson, for example, you know Richard Branson? Yeah, everyone knows him. If you have a chance, you should read his story. Because he didn't start in the normal way. He started with a group of friends, and they started in the churchyard. Okay? So what I'm saying is you don't need to have powerful or financial friends, but you have to have the right network and the right relationships. And that relationship of trust is critical.
Important.
No, critical.
But the important study, if I say, is Richard Branson, he born in that time, he just no much competition, and he started to record in the music, and then that opportunity, they make him very rich, because nobody, no opportunity, no competition for it, and then making money and then coming down. It's not all of them bad. They're selling software, and even they're selling the software to Australian government with the tracking for the this Chinese virus.
So if I apply the same principle, so I'll allow our translator to catch it. If I apply the same principle, micro-manufacturing, industrial hemp. You need a lot of money to start the trial. It's an area that we may have some advantage, okay? So there are opportunities that you can see or feel, okay, that you could take up as a small business opportunity initially, okay? Whether the idea is going to be successful or not will come down to a number of factors, okay? But I'll give you an example. If you come from a traditional farming background, for example, you may be able to start a business in this area under the right conditions. because she has some skills and some expertise. I don't grow anything. I'm terrible at growing things. However, I have a farmer who's going to work with us. So he's part of my network, part of my relationship to make this happen. Sorry, I'll let you do.
No, muka tu wete ni maka la wera ne hon opla la tiko de be da wera ni masiwa yin na ba we bo la tiko ko ga ba he blo de pichumu la ba mi he ma o cha ja pe ni mo de nyo ba mo de wera a wete de me ba ta te na ni chi chin la ko ti ko bo ne de mu to ko ta re lo mu lo la wa ga ma o ja ne ba ha ma ne ko kha ja ne la mo a do a ke ne wete pya wete ja ne ye su da sa ra na pa no mi ba ta mi ja ne o de ho ko ako ne mra ga le na pa ra tu da pa ra mra ga le tu da pa ra ti ni ta ma ko blo du ne ne ke ro wa ta ma ne ye ho ko da. So
what I'd like to do is just take you back, because Leslie's reminding me I need to take you back a little bit. We have a small target, whatever our business idea is, and we remember the triangle, okay? So win, 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 okay? Because this is how you tend to get the best result, okay? So you might have a good idea, but don't know how to take it to market. You might know how to take it to market, but can't actually make it or build it or create it. So, yeah. So one of the critical things is ensuring that, you know, in English we say have your ducks in a row, okay? But if you can have the interaction or the connections, you'll find yourself in a really positive space often. But what the idea is needs to be tested. And so at the beginning I said, if you have an idea, you should test it, maybe on your friends, your networks, take it and test it outside of your community. Because in order to work out whether, you know, people in Tasmania like your idea or want to buy your product is really important. So some of the business ideas that we often hear about, I want to start a restaurant, cultural, you know, make my own food. I want to start a cafe. I want to make something. I want to import or export something from my country to here and sell it. Now, they're all useful ideas. But if you talk about import-export, some things will sell really well and some things won't sell at all. And I'll give you an example in a minute.
Awara ne wakite da la khoti la na kasara siwa yi ne ba ke ba te to ko rai ba kasara la khoti wo chi ko pho lo ba ma pha do ba no na ma pha do na shu kho lo lo mi mi ke ro ma na ma san pya wa mi ke ro na ma do ro ja to ta te pya awara he ba do te do ja to ga lo ta pho ta li la yu ko yi mu da ne phe yi ke cho yi ke lo ta pho ta li to no cha ne to no cha de ne ba na ma lo na yi ne ka ma o siwa yi na.
So the example I'm going to share with you is one that we started about 18 months ago. So I went to Thailand, started to build up some networks. Thailand has some specific things that they're quite good at, which is natural medicine, natural health products, okay? And so we looked and we did some research, and they've got some particular products that if I hop online, and it doesn't matter which online product service I go to, the charge rate was about $50, sorry, between $30 and $50 for a jar, okay? But when you go to Thailand, I can buy them for about $10 or $12. So even if I add $10 to it, I still make good money, right? So looking for the opportunity is critical. But the only reason I could buy for that price is because I had a local Thai person buy for me. I got the local Thai price. In exchange for that, I pay that Thai person some money to go shopping for me. It's a retainer. It's a retainer. So I pay that person, which they're happy about, and they go shopping. They buy it, they pack it, they send it. Not everything we've bought has been successful. However, there is one product that's been very successful. And we didn't sell that product online, so everything we put online. Someone that was interested because they smelled this product, and it was on my son after he went to the gym. And they smell the product, and I went, what's that product? It smells amazing. He showed them and he told them about it. They paid me twice what it was worth. Right? That's an example. So sometimes in your mind you think something will be very successful, And the reverse becomes quite true. So what we are going to do is put more emphasis on that product because you cannot get it in Australia. And demand is coming naturally from the individual people. And I apologise again.
အဝဲတက်ပါခလာအဒိုနမနော်ယူကောနော်တာဖူတလီနေနော်အဒိုကတိကစောပါချလာကြတော့ဘာဝဘဘပွေအသေးဖာနေအဝဲချပဲနေမတမစ်လေဟင်းနေတာခလနေအကဲတော့အမြအိုခလပါမာဝတခါတခါလက်အမြအိုခါနေပမာလောအဒိုနေလက်နေပမစ်လေလောလယူကောဘမမပွေနေပါချီဖဲနေဝချာနေအဝဲရဲ့ချီညာနေအကွာလူချီညာမရအခုနေတမရလက်နေတန်ငါနေပါညောကဥခေါ်ဟာပွေနေတာတလောတန်ငါအော်လောချောတော့ဝဲဥခေါ်ပွေလောဝဲဘို့လောရှင်းနေတာမနော်နိုင်လက်အကလာနေအဝဲဝါချိုင်တော့ဥရခါအပေါရခါမနော်ချလော
And do you want to know the interesting point why I share that story with you? Because 2 sessions ago, I had a meeting with someone after one of our sessions, and his family can do the product here in Tasmania. I don't have to buy from Thailand now. I can actually support someone from within the community group, right, to make the product for me here. And that's what I'm saying. Like within the community groups, you have skills, you have talent, you have capability. The trick in starting the business is how do you bring some of those together to come up with the business idea that might work. And that's why I say sometimes the first idea won't work. But if you test it out with friends, have the small target, support each other, often you'll end up with a more successful outcome. And that's what I'm encouraging you to think about today. I'm also conscious, and I apologise, I would really like to hear from some people from the community, if I could, if they have some ideas, because then what I can do is respond to their questions.
I want to say that Bakala Bangya what put Puget, Mungabella Pune, Bakala, Taputali, when Malala, you go over Bangala Wargania. Lucky never, however, Bangala to put Pune, what Timmy Bangyo to do. No, Bangyo me, Mamma, what the poo, La Hella you call her, that a kind of Lumala you go back, but they say Bugatina. A hone a well with Aputali over the tail of Palam or enemy. A hone tassa in Zalakatora, Bangyo to put the pool a background to this one.
Does anybody have an idea or something they want to put forward? We have a lady on the end who's like this, and Leslie's reminding me. I like to, so please, share your ideas.
Someone over there has their hand. So I got this idea while you were talking. I was in my own world. So
Can you big voice.
Yeah. My sister, she was thinking about like starting her own business, and then when I looked at that, it gave me some ideas. So I was thinking like building a partnership with, because she wants to start like a clothing business.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of clothing business, and then I want this business to be unique. So I was thinking about like building a partnership with a coffee shop, which like there's 2 ways. You can buy a shop, you can buy a coffee, and then you can go down like from the elevator to the shop, to the clothing shop, and then also building a partnership with the small business owners, which allows them to like give their ideas and then like share it with people, and which allows them to like start their own business, like move forward. And then also like helping the environment also, like donating money to the national union, which helps the people that are in need. And then to do that, I was thinking like showing the people where that money is going by like showing them photos, which will encourage other people to donate that as well. So I was just
Lots of very good ideas. If I was having a conversation with you, and I am, and I would be happy to talk offline as well, what I would suggest is that you have many ideas. What would be your number 1 idea?
Mine would be like building a partnership.
Coffee shop and clothes?
Yeah. What?
What would be your number 1 idea?
Oh, it's like building relationships with the people before starting like talking to them, and then before like building my own.
How will you make money in a business?
By helping each other, because like this business can help all of us like triangle. It helps my business grow as well as theirs, and then it helps the people as well.
So what I would suggest there is we would need to unpack that idea a little bit more to help you to understand where some of your income or revenue streams might be. because without those, your business won't have what we call sustainability. So it's critical to understand where those things are, those inputs are. So you'll need the human interaction and all of those things, but you'll also need funding to allow it to continue. So the idea is good. We just need to, what we say, incubate the idea, so allow the idea to form more solidly, and then you have an idea about where the money will come from, who the networks or groups are, and who might need to access that. So we build a more complete picture. So you have an idea, a good idea, but I like your first idea. Do you know why I like the first idea? So the first idea was clothing and coffee, basically. So integration, basically integration of product. But you know why I like the idea? Because you said something unique. I'm doing a hemp trial with fibre, okay? I need someone who can take the fibre and make clothes. You wanted a business idea? I just gave you one.
You can make clothes out of hemp. So he couldn't work with you in your business to make hemp clothes. Now, does anybody else in Tasmania make hemp clothes? Yes, a couple of people. That doesn't mean you can't. You just need to get your specific thing and the costs at a certain level so you're making money. That's the other point I just wanted to say, because we did the business consulting together. Lots of people had ideas, but you actually have to work out how much money you can make in the hour to make some things. Can you actually do it? Like if you have to make
small target,
maybe that's not the best product to have.
The other thing to remember, and I'll allow our translators, and I apologise.
Awani akuno ula waga ma auswa ye kamia ado waga ma coffee ame mara wa ta kutaka ta de phane ne awa ko ne awa hit ku we na ne kamara ne ba pwe da go ba ga le ne ne ji ne ko o thele ta le ne kama si wa yin ne ta le tri da ba o ne ma ro da ji o wa ptu da yan ne ti ba mo no aku ne awa ta hit ku hit pham ga de we te lo ta ko ra ne mo o ne ta khi kha ta kha ne ne ma phele do ta kha le ne ji o thele de ga le ko pu ne ta le tri da o wa yan ne.
So as an example, we've heard about air to China, okay? We've heard about maybe clothing and coffee integrated, but I might have some raw material that I can pass to you to make those clothes, to create a unique business opportunity. Can you see how the relationships and the networks start to mesh? And that's one of the reasons we like to have the conversation this way. Yeah, sure.
Because from fibre
Yeah.
to clothes, you still need someone to make the fabric. And there is, I already know Tasmania has a yarn club. So those ladies, they have a network that can connect you with some handmade crafts. So I don't know, yeah.
So Jade says they have a network which kind of falls into your preferred business idea. Okay, can you see how it all can fit together? So one of the things is that I don't have all the answers, but if you have an idea and we unpack it, we can put some of our thinking forward, because at the end of the day, the business idea is your personal, it's personal to you. And we have to respect your personal side. And at the same time, as Leslie says, we don't want you to lose money or waste time. If you start a business with one person, right, there's only so many hours in the day that you can work. If you start a business with another person, you just doubled your hours, okay? If you work with other businesses, you just maybe quadrupled your hours. So we call it the multiplier effect. So as you start small and prove your idea, test your idea, low risk. As you start to grow and evolve, you can get bigger in a way you feel comfortable with. For example, I don't want to get any bigger. I like to have many little things going, okay? Well, I get bored, okay? I have many ideas. I like to try new things. So this hemp trial, fantastic. I don't grow hemp. I don't make clothes. But I'm having a go. I'm trying it because I think, and my business partner thinks it's a good idea.
Your business idea about customers, because you want to selling and you must get a percentage of that business.
just take that a little further. So one of the reasons I like to start ideas and stuff is I like to build a business, and then I like to either take investors in or sell that part of the business. That's my interest. My interest is starting and doing the thinking, build it to a point, and then pass it on, or bring others in to invest in it. So I win. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm really conscious of some time, and I'm going to come to this gentleman that we spoke before the break, so I have an idea. Is there someone else here that might like to ask something or put forward an idea? If not now, very happy to meet with you outside the session on another time, okay?
Thế bên bác là bên mò cái mẹ là si qua ra này khi họ ta sợ tao over hoa cái này mò cái mẹ là si qua ra là này là ta sợ si qua ra ở bên mò này bên nó khi này bên si qua ra bảo nó nó mẹ bây giờ hà nó đọa đi là khi ta chụp mồm u rồi cả.
So for example, if there was a group that wanted to come together, I'd be very happy to come and have a coffee, a tea, and just have a chat with you, okay? Okay, because Leslie and I are very committed to helping. We have businesses that we have to run, but at the same time, we're here because we're committed to trying to help others, okay?
Leslie đó là ta mà chơi là ba mà có mà si vậy cái đó không chắc si vậy thì phải đôi này uli mà ở mà đã phụ chế với bà là vì bà đi mới ông nhìn nó lên mới lớp đó này mà đó là mình ta phải si vậy cái ở Thái Lan đó rồi hay mà ở bên đó cái đó là gì vậy?
Working with some softwares. Here, I found in Tasmania, some technology is lagging. So I have some idea is that actually all the businesses going for a taxation consultant for the business and they're getting report. But actually for the analyst report, they have the data, but they don't have proper consultation or anything for analyzing the particular data and for providing about the product report and the sales report and all those. But even if you require any employee, it may be maybe they for per year 100K. But it's a good solution for getting a solution-based report for IT consultant based on so many. Maybe I belongs to as a business intelligence products, so I can provide surveys. So it's a good idea to start here in Tasmania with any the government service with any, because I just like with the networking especially, but I had a solution-based idea.
So look, I've got an IT. Okay, so basically we've got someone who has some very important skills in relation to, I'll just call it business analyst.
Yes.
Which is basically taking data sources and being able to analyse the data and find a range of solutions, opportunities on the basis of that data that would inform the business projections for strengths, weaknesses. We normally call it business intelligence.
Yes, and it's a business intelligence is one of the tools along with so many different softwares involved in that. So it's a tool we use, and also the analytical logical thinking.
Sure. So broadly, it's an area of information systems that, because we have a lot of businesses now using computers and data is being collected, what do you do with the data? How do you analyse it? How do you break it down? How do you leverage the data? Is the essence of the question. So I was a master's lecturer at UTAS in information systems and computers for 10 years. Okay, so we're on the same page. And the gentleman behind you has some particular skills as well.
Oh, great.
So instantly we have two people here who have a common interest, but a different interest. And I'll let the gentleman speak for himself in a little bit. So one of the things is, if you were starting a business in that area, there's some legal requirements you need to be very careful of. Because the moment you access data, you need permission to use that data for particular things. So Australian legislation is very tight on some of this. And I'm not just talking about privacy or confidentiality, I'm actually talking about what you can use the data for, because most users need to have given some agreement, corporations need to have given some agreement. So one of the first things I would look at if you were starting a business in that area is fully informing myself about some of the requirements if we don't do anything happen, then it sounds like you already have some good insight. The second part is being very clear about what some of the benefits are to potential businesses that you might access. So we say, what's in it for me? So what's in it for the client? Why would they engage your services? That would be another important consideration for a business that you might take down that path.
Yeah, in this case, actually, I'm very confident about my skill and solution providing, but I'm just lagging with the networking with the other businesses. Is there any partnership or any concern or providing consultancy or anything that? So, because I'm not aware on that, that's what.
Yeah, so this is about building your network.
Okay.
Okay. So in Tasmania, we have an organisation known as Tas ICT, and I'll happily share that with you. They're a peak body for industry, information communication technology. They get some funding from the government to keep the sector healthy, I guess. They don't give money to projects, but they keep the network and the relationships between businesses in IT and the government connected. Okay, so that might be an organisation that and certainly introduce you to the CEO if you want. But one of the things is being aware of who's out there. So Leslie in her presentation talked about maybe connecting with some industries. They're a membership-based organisation, so there is a fee. However, if you just wanted to have a chat and a coffee, you probably would be able to access that gentleman for an hour or so at no cost. Okay, it's kind of working how it might work.
Awara tewara ni bakhala wani lamo awara ta pamum gargan de de bakiani ade ba sibaye khono ba chali wara ne no ate to kora bakhala mum gane to de dani tadi to ana yini logala ata chumu di to mono awe ata ku ata sani ata lu ba de phane di ko hone de te ko ni te ni ka ta ti la ba o ya da awara na ma ba khala la ba yini.
They both have both here.
Ian, can I quickly mention some resources they can access? Business consultation, counseling.
I've already spoken this one.
Yeah, enterprise centers. It's government-funded project, free, 5 hours. You can access, anyone can. You just need to go to the website, find your advisor. So in Tasmania, there are several areas. Each area has 2 advisors. Each advisor, you can have it 5 hours free. But before you go there, have a clear idea of your business. Best to have a business plan as well. They don't prepare that for you.
Awara tewara bakhala ba he kura ne pani wena ne January jata na sima la nyane dia January ne ohu ne nagale malo na January ne January ne lo nga ba awe he kolona no ohu ne nagale ne kuno ne ba wa chane ero ma mi le ne ero ma ta te mi le ne ka ba upa cha no mi de me ne le te ko ra be ne ne ta chumo mi upa cha ba na nari le kololo ne.
The brochure distributed earlier is also free service, but they do, how do I say, more pointy. So kind of like us, but within their office. So if you go there and talk to them, they will tell you, you can go to here, you can go to there, different kind of resources. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but enterprise services, Tasmania, if you have a business idea, that's probably the first place to go. But the important bit is, as Jade and I have said, do some preparation first.
Their website, yeah, they have material links on the website. You read information.
Yeah. So Jade said they'll ask you to prepare a business plan. They won't prepare it for you. That's very true. But remember, a business plan can take a form that you're comfortable with. So, for example, we know someone that worked, because they were on our committee, they worked with the businesses in art community. Artists don't write much down. They're creative. They design. So what they did was they painted rocks. and put all the rocks together, and the rocks form the business plan. So the medium rather, that they used, that they could connect with. So if you go to this Enterprise Centre Services Tasmania, often it'll be more about a written plan. So remember that you can take a picture, have a drawing, which is your business plan, because the business plan can come in many forms. So you have to connect with it. So I'm very visual, so I like that approach. But when you go here, be prepared that they might be talking more about the written type of thing.
Yeah. So
you can then create whatever you like.
Yep.
okay.
Sorry, and we.
那个嘛那个看没了提到高了呢，那他没得呢，但是过去旁边我好的呢，没了来得的高不吧呀，来叫他个卡别多的，都没得古达卡，他古达多的卡，为了的话呢，那个黑姑那个呢，没提了为啥的，我呢不了的，我个皮肤黑盘那家呢，但也为啥办嘛呢？没我家呢呢为多嘛呢？但不会好不来得了，啊，对不对？提了那不了多，的爸爸嘛呢。
Sorry, last. I know.
So I want to get this in
Yeah,
because
we're off time, but last one.
yeah.
This
I want to
document.
bring this for a reason.
Yeah. If your business will likely be in Glenorchy, check this out. I printed out, and then talk to the Glenorchy City Council's economic team. They can help you, and it's free service too.
So there's lots of resources and lots of services you can access, but one of the things that's critical is being fully aware of the type of service they can give to you. So sometimes you'll read it and make an assumption. Before you make the time to speak to them, really understand what service they can offer you. That's the critical bit. So that you don't waste your time or you don't waste the office's time.
That's right, yeah. So they can help you publicize your service. So if your business will be in Glenorchy, they can help you put up your business in a website and then do a video maybe and put it on their Facebook page. And what else? They do have an incubator program coming up soon called Green Shoots. So these three things.
Yeah, and as Jade knows that we're keen to sort of start some business incubation as well. Our business incubation will be very strongly focused in the various communities. So not just older people, but younger people as well, because these are programs that we've developed and designed that we take using another one of our activities that we do, business incubation into Thailand and Malaysia and New Zealand and a few other places. Okay, we just pop the idea up and everyone's, wow, can we have it? we just don't have the resources at the moment, but we're working on it.
แต่ก่อนบ้าขลังมึงกันเนี่ยแต่เราไม่ไปกิจเลยขันเนี่ยกิจเลยขันเนี่ยมีบลาดูเนี่ยบ้าขลังเอาไว้มาตะก่อนมึงก็อยู่ก็มีหน้าตากินกิจเปียกได้ไว้เนาะคนเนี่ยเอาไว้ก็เอาไว้น่าอุ่นเลยจะตัวบางอย่างให้อุตุเราตาเพย์บางอย่างตัวพูดกันเลยแล้วแต่น่าเปิดสิบวันยี่กลุ่มเลยสารข้อที่ข้อมูลเนี่ยเอาไว้น่าอุ่นมาเจอไว้มั้งเนาะที่สิ่งนี้เลยไว้ยัง
And just one last person that I'd like to. Do you want me to speak about our conversation a little bit? Are you comfortable with that? Okay, so this particular gentleman and I had a conversation. We're going to catch up at another time as well. He wants to start a business in IT. So you have a friend. Okay. So we've just built a relationship, very early one. Okay. But his idea is completely different to your idea. His business idea is in relation to cyber security and things like that. Now, if you think about cybersecurity and the relationship between data and you need to talk.
เอาไว้เต็มกันเนี่ยต่อทอน่าเปิดวันน่ะหัวปวยไปยิกบัดเตะเปียไว้ได้คือกันมาเอาไว้ได้เราดูแต่เราคนมันสิว่าอยู่กันนี่ว่าเอาคุณนึกนี่กูเลยตาเคลซีสิว่าอยู่ที่นี่ว่ามาหาว่าฟีตาได้ผ่านเนี่ยปกบัดดอตเดินกันเลยเอาคุณเนี่ยตัดกันเนี่ยดูกูเลยดูพัดถอยมาเนี่ยเนาะ
So just in the last 15 minutes, we need to talk. You need to talk. We need to talk, and maybe I need to talk to some of the other community members as well. But you can see that by bringing groups of people together to talk about some of the ideas, and we probably need to talk too, okay? You probably have a million thoughts. We probably just need one. So we need a small target for you, okay? But one of the things is when we bring groups together to talk about creating a business and those sorts of things, what happens is it stimulates our mind in terms of our own thoughts, much the same as you shared with us. So I thank you very much for sharing. And I'm very conscious that we've gone over time. So that's because I started late, okay? I didn't run late. But what I'd like to do is sincerely thank you all for coming today. And as I say, I'm really happy to meet with you outside of the session. We just organised the time, and I'm happy to meet as a group because I understand the importance of the translation that is there. So I thank you for translating today, and of course the support that is in the room everywhere from the broader committee as well. So from my point, thank you, Jade. This is my last session. My family goes, can we do this? And I went, no, we can't do this. I'm doing this. They're looking forward to having me available on a Saturday. So I'm going to go and do that. But I'm very happy to meet with you. And Leslie and I work really strongly together. So whether you access Leslie or myself, but we're just here to help. So we wish you every success. So thank you, Jade.
Thank you so much, Ian and Wendy. Can I ask people here, what time and day is better for you than Saturday, if that's the case? If we want to talk and share business ideas again, which day is better? Weekend or weeknights? Weekend? Yeah. Somebody says weeknights. So maybe in the future, when we do sharing and those discussion idea sessions, we can do it one round in the weeknight, one round in the weekend. Yeah, so more a bit more suitable to people from different situations. Also, can you later ask your community, how accessible in terms of time?
Yeah.
So again, thank you very much.
Thì có ta sợ tao mà là khi vẽ đó là ta sợ tâm ta thành kỳ ba của đề chứ là đi